Good evening. Tensions are escalating tonight along the India-Bangladesh border following a massive domestic law enforcement crackdown and sharp diplomatic friction between New Delhi and Dhaka over undocumented migration. From a coordinated statewide sweep in western India to critical standoffs at the eastern frontier, the issue of illegal immigration has taken center stage. Here is a breakdown of exactly what is happening right now, looking at the massive domestic operations and the geopolitical standoff at the frontier gates. In the interior of the country, the most significant action is unfolding in Gujarat, where police have launched a highly coordinated enforcement drive called Operation Delta Hunt. Over the last 48 hours, state authorities have officially verified and detained 501 Bangladeshi nationals who were allegedly residing in India illegally. The operation is heavily concentrated in industrial and urban hubs where undocumented individuals predominantly find manual labor, specifically in Ahmedabad, Surat, Rajkot, Vadodara and Bharuch. Gujarat Home Minister Harsh Sanghvi stated that the 72-hour operation relied on telecom data analysis, technical surveillance and human intelligence to track down individuals who bypass standard protocols by procuring forged local documents like the Aadhaar cards. The state government has expanded its probe to examine over 6,200 other individuals, and local police are filing cases against Indian landlords and employers who provided shelter or jobs without conducting mandatory police verification. All verified illegal nationals are currently slated for deportation. As the domestic crackdown intensifies, the 4,000-kilometer land frontier between India and Bangladesh has turned into a diplomatic and tactical flashpoint. The border guard of Bangladesh has issued a formal statement claiming that it foiled 10 separate attempts by Indian security forces to informally transfer individuals across the border over a single 24-hour period. According to Bangladeshi officials, the most acute incident occurred in Janaida district, where they alleged that India's border security force used a prison van to bring 30 to 35 individuals to a border gate with the intent of pushing them across. The border guard of Bangladesh has claimed its patrol teams, backed by local residents, blocked the crossing and forced the vehicle to retreat, with similar standoffs reported across the border sectors of Jaiswal, Joypurhat and Panchgarh. Because Bangladeshi authorities are refusing to allow entry without formal documentation, groups of Bengali-speaking individuals have found themselves temporarily stranded at the zero line, no man's land between the two nations' border fences. The sudden surge in enforcement follows a distinct geopolitical shift in border management after the recent political transition in Bangladesh. From New Delhi's perspective, however, the repatriation of illegal nationals is being treated as a non-negotiable core national security issue. And India recently handed Dhaka a diplomatic note with a verified list of 2,868 suspected illegal migrants, demanding swift nationality verification. Conversely, Bangladesh has expressed deep concern over informal transfers, demanding that any repatriation happen strictly through formal legal and diplomatic channels rather than unilateral actions at border gates. Meanwhile, India is moving to tighten physical security on the ground, with the West Bengal state government, remember, recently clearing a long-standing hurdle by handing over 31 acres of land to the Border Security Force to finish critical gaps in the border fencing. The situation remains highly fluid as local police forces across India indicate that verification drives will continue to expand. To prevent this from snowballing into a severe bilateral crisis, the immediate focus now shifts to the upcoming high-level, Director General level bilateral talks between the Border Security Force of India and the Border Guard Bangladesh. They're scheduled to take place in New Delhi from June 8 through June 11, 2026. This four-day summit will serve as the critical mechanism for both nations to reconcile domestic security crackdowns with formal international deportation protocols. But what will we really achieve from this? Let me take that conversation forward. Major Sudhakarji with us, Ambassador Sushil Singhal with us on the broadcast, Mr. RVS Mani and Mr. Rajesh Bhargav with us as well. I want to begin with Major Sudhakarji. Major Sudhakarji, if memory serves me correct, sir, we had a plane full of Indians who were handcuffed, not treated too well, uh, just dumped into a plane from the United States of America and then brought to India as a part of a deportation drive. Uh, India raised a concern over the way the people were being treated, but we did acknowledge the fact that yes, some people could have gone to the United States of America and they were perhaps living illegally there. Why is it that we're not able to take a similar position vis-a-vis Bangladesh?
Devika, good evening. Thank you for getting me for your show, and my very warm greetings to the distinguished and esteemed co-panelists. Good question you have raised. We need to understand there is a distinction between what USA did and what India is trying to do. USA is approximately 15,000 to 16,000 kilometers, depending on which part of country you belong to, from India. And Bangladesh is a country which, at one point in time, it is to be an undivided portion of undivided British India Empire. And thereafter, after the partition, it became part of Pakistan. And after 71, liberation of Bangladesh, it actually enjoyed the status of its total freedom and as an independent country. So, and also we need to be mindful of the fact that Bangladesh is contiguous to India, and they're the same people. People in West Bengal, people in Bangladesh, they speak the same language. The creation was based on the language itself. And so all this, the history cannot be ignored. They have to be kept in view. But the fact remains that we are almost 78 years or 79 years away from independence. The country has come a long way, and we are the third largest economy in the world. It is not the economic might or the military might of the country. It is ensuring that the people of India, they are safe and secure. Because if you have the immediate neighborhood turning out to be a kind of a strategic encirclement by one force and a proxy war by another neighbor, and the third neighbor who was friendly suddenly turns hostile to India's national interests. So what do? When you go deeper into the issue and find out there are multiple factors. One of the factors is the large network of sleeper cells. I'm not pointing a finger at anybody, but going by the official data, at some places you find there are 4 crores of illegal migrants from Bangladesh and India. At places I was shocked to read that it is not 4 crores, it is 10 crores of illegal migrants from Bangladesh. These are the kinds of figures. At times I feel, hope they are not inflated, but they are real. 10 crore is getting corroborated from 10 different places. Mr. Money is here, he's an old hand at this, he will be able to validate the data I'm sharing, but this is the alarming figure that is happening. On one hand you have PFI, the other hand you have Simit threat, and the third one, there is a Hindwa Hind, that declaration of Al-Qaeda right since 1996. And 2014, the Daesh has given the declaration, entire world would be under one map. So with these kind of threats, and we should be thankful to the present dispensation of the political leadership that they have taken very, very expedient and stringent measure to ensure security and the safety of our countrymen by addressing multiple issues. There is not one issue. Recently, we have had Operation Sindoor, and immediately after Operation Sindoor, you know which are the countries which were tacitly, covertly and overtly supporting Pakistan. This is not a story, it is not a foible that is to be shared with any, it is a fact. Name Turkey, name Qatar, name China, name every country, and today Bangladesh has become the hub. It is the epicenter of terrorists. You have Hamas there, you have Hezbollah there, you have Rohingyas there, you have the old camps of Ulfaza being used by Lashkar-e-Toiba to train Jaish-e-Mohammed, you have the Jaish-e-Mohammed women wing who are already there, Jamaati group from Karachi, they came on a visit. Turkey is making an industrial corridor in Pakistan, the corridor which once upon a time, couple of years back, was supposed to have been given to India. I'm sure Mr. Money must have dealt with the subject. That is presently with Turkey. Now, Lal Bunirhat, just about 28 kilometers from a Siliguri corridor, the entire Jamaati dominance is all along the Siliguri corridor. So under these circumstances, when you see that there are too many illegal migrants, yes, it is going to be at a cost and the consequences are going to be there. But then for the larger good of the nation, for the larger safety and the security, we need to be mindful of the fact of the multi-domain operation which Israel has just been subjected to by Hamas on 7th October 2023. Don't be shocked and surprised if we have a black swan day one day. It may not be like the way the Hamas attacked the Israelis. It could be by different form and method. And the officials, senior officials of Pakistan Armed Forces, they've gone to the extent, including the political leadership, that the next counter-offensive or offensive is going to be from the eastern flank. So what are you waiting for? This is the list that the government in power should be doing. And I am glad, without meaning being a soldier, our party is national security and national interest. I'll neither be this side or call it BJP nor Congress. I am saying this is of tremendous effort. It's a great initiative being taken by the political leadership. The kudos to them. They must get going ahead. The entire nation must support them. Back to you then.
Okay, Ambassador Sushil Singhal, bringing you into the conversation, sir. How do we then tackle this diplomatically with Bangladesh, with a government that's not necessarily wanting to be too friendly with India at this point in time? Because it's a serious concern. Literally the same problem caused us to intervene in a war a few decades ago. I think someone should really, send some of those history books to the Bangladeshi government that we didn't just intervene on a whim. We intervened because there was, a floodgates were opened as far as migration was concerned, and therefore we had to. But how do we then, Ambassador Singhal, in today's day and age, deal with this situation diplomatically?
Well, diplomatically, of course, we have been in conversation with the government of Bangladesh. And, sort of responsibility also lie on us that when this illegal migration is taking place, the people are trying to come to India, we need to have measures in place in consultation with, of course, with the government of Bangladesh to ensure that the illegal people do not come to India illegally. And even we have this problem of, people coming to India legally, then overstaying. So we have that problem also. But basically, the responsibility lies with us that we detect in timely manner and ensure that, these people, first of all, they don't come to. We need to have, because we had this problem of fencing. We have a very difficult border with Bangladesh. It's about 4,000 kilometers long, and some of the areas were not fenced, which are now being fenced because of some political problems. And we know this problem. It's not that it has happened today. It is happening for the long time, and there were economic reasons as well as the political reasons for that. We have systems in place. Only problem is that the systems are not being not being implemented, I would say. Like, we have identified, you mentioned the figure about 2,800 illegal immigrants who have been identified. And as per the process with any country, process is that, we identified and we ask the country concerned to confirm their citizenship. And there is a process in place. But in Bangladesh, that process is taking very long, for years together. So we are not able to send them back. When we are talking of USA, you mentioned about the USA, what happened was that they sent us a list and we verified, we confirmed that they are Indian citizens. And of course, the issue was on the manner they were sent. The issue was not that they are not Indians. They were sent to India only after when the government of India confirmed, yes, we confirmed that these people are Indians. So that is a different issue altogether with the US. But with Bangladesh, we have a different kind of problem. One is the numbers, which is a huge number. And partly we are responsible for that, I would say, that because we were not able to prevent them coming illegally to India. And also that, the government of Bangladesh also is not as cooperative as it should be. For obvious reason, because systems are not in place there also. And they are not willing to admit successive governments have not willing to admit that this is a problem for their own political reasons. They don't want to accept that they have a illegal immigrant problem. In fact, we have an issue of the BSF also. We all when you mentioned about the meeting which is going to take place, there's always one issue that why BSF is firing upon those smugglers and others. So there's a major issue, emotional issue in Bangladesh. I served there, so we have used to handle that problem. They said you can arrest them and all, but why you are firing on them, why you're killing them. Of course, there were reasons because these smugglers can be very, very violent, and our forces have suffered so many times when we try this. So as the end resort, last resort, they fire upon them, and some killing also. Some smugglers die because of the economic issue. That's the economic. They say no, it's not. Of course, that's something debate we can hold. But the problem is that certainly it's a big problem, and we need to be very, we have to be very vigilant. And now we have to set up these detention centers at the border, because the Bangladesh identification or verification is taking long time. So this need to be sorted out with Bangladesh. I think we need to have more conversations. So they are a robust system of verifications.
Okay, I want to bring in. Okay, okay. So let me bring in Mr. RVS Mani, because that's an important point that you raised there, right? You've explained that as far as India's situation was concerned, a list was shared and then we identified. But are we to say, Mr. RVS Mani, that we are not sharing similar lists with Bangladesh? Because what we're learning is that we are sharing the list, but there's just no response from that end. They are the administration, for reasons best known to them, is not really working with India to handle this crisis. And now we're potentially looking at spending money on developing detention centers. It's all a cost to India. Bangladesh is not really going to pick up the cost of making these detention centers or anything else for that matter. So how do we really navigate this very tricky situation in your perspective?
Thanks, Devina. In fact, Mr. General Sudhakar had detailed a lot of things. You have really hit the bullseye here. Like, we have been engaging with Bangladesh for several long years, and the Bangladesh response has been either indifferent or hostile. See, about the shooting, about etc. happened. The BDR is a rogue army. It's a rogue force. I have no qualms in admitting that the Bangladesh Rifles is a rogue force. Whenever they have already, we also had a very clear record of BDR shooting one of our assistant commanders, Jeevan Kumar, in 2005. Of course, the same engagement and bilateral and all that did not, another few BSF personnel along with it in Tripura. So that is BDR is a rogue force like the Pakistani army or Pakistani Rangers. There is no doubt about it, and they are not going to do it. And backed by the Hifazat-e-Islam of Dhaka-based organization, they are also either they are pushing it, resisting any pushback by the Indian government, Indian state, and that is also another very important point. Earlier, in fact, in 2021 elections also, Hifazat played a role in the friendly government getting re-elected, but this time because due to SIR and SIR and other excellent initiatives, that did not happen, and that is the reason there was a lot of protest against SIR. SIR was a very beautiful pruning of the list, but again, dead workers, they will be shown. So these are all internal problems which are happening. As Mr. General Sudhakar had pointed out, apart from this, we need to be a little more aggressive. There is no, as you said, there is no, the detention centers is a cost on us. Our taxpayers' money. Why should we for the thing? And it's a delayed, as Mr. General Sudhakar had pointed out. 4th July 2004, there was a question answered in the parliament about the numbers. If you extrapolate along with the TFR and added rate of migration and all that, the 10 crores is not a very far-fetched figure. It could be accurate, it could be slightly higher than that. So I'm telling you, because if you extrapolate along with the TFR of the total fertility rate of the Bangladesh who already come in, they almost go for 8 to 12 children. And that is a fact. So 10 crores is a very understatement, it could be even higher. So this is my perception on that. Having said that, yes, a robust initiative has been taken. Siliguri corridor, a central committee has been formed. I'm sure, and of course, the wonderful part is that the D.S. Mishra has handled this problem for several years, an expert in the subject, is the most appropriate man in the fact, along with the Registrar General of Census and all that. So these are all people, they are already working on it. Well, Assam government, we have seen the Kokrajhar riots of 2012 had happened only because of Bangladeshi illegal immigrants. They are also doing it in the Kachar district, Barak Valley, everywhere they are doing it. In a place like Mizoram, where there is a restricted area permit or an interline permit required for others to enter it, there are around 10,000 Bangladeshis living all over Champai district and other Mizoram, Aizawl and all those places. In Manipur also, they have managed to enter. Nagaland also has it. Apart from the mainland has a humongous numbers which is absolutely incomprehensible. If it is 10 crore, that could be a lot of, because not all of them are there. So they are creating not just law and order, they are creating other issues, crimes, petty crimes to large criminal syndicate they have operated. Zakir Naik has been a motivator in Bangladesh as it has been emanated few years back in some other case. All the Bangladeshis, many of them go for that peace TV. They will necessarily watch the peace TV. Zakir Naik, who is the anti-India rabble-rouser, anti-Hindu rabble-rouser, pro-Islamic rabble-rouser, lot of them also follow them. This is a sort of, they are able to, their message is being beamed into them. I'm not saying anything against Zakir, but he is a fugitive from Indian web, but he is the Bangladeshi illegals are able to have access to Zakir Naik's thing. And let's make no mistake, Makkah Masjid, I keep on saying Makkah Masjid, one of the perpetrators, real perpetrators who never brought to book was Sharifuddin, the illegal Bangladeshi living. Makkah Masjid 2007, 18th May 2007 blast. So why I am saying it is a statement, it is an indication that they are also interested in Harkatul Jamaite Islami -BD, that means Bangladesh. They are into lot of trouble. They are bringing lot of, see, for example, the religious institutions and the places of worship and the religious teaching institutions in the 50 kilometers within the India-Bangladesh border, humongous numbers have come up. In fact, one of the officers who had in 2008 or 2009 had gone to inspect that, he was also held hostage and the Home Secretary had to intervene. This is all facts. I'm just showing the Home Secretary had to intervene to get him out of the problem through the state government and all. So that is the hostility with which they treat your Indian officers. So this is absolutely important. It is imperative that the action of the government is taken up in a very muscular manner.
Okay.
I do not think the diplomatic niceties can be handled when they are stonewalling this. If they are got a BDR to reply to us, then we need to have our BSF to give appropriate counter to all of them. We need to have strong situations. Don't build detention centers. Already we have one in Lampur, in Delhi. There are camps. There were Durga, Malda and all. During the Mamtaji regime, there are a lot of detention camps supposedly set up where some 8 and 4 and 3 people were found to be registered. Assam, the present dispensation which is continuing, they have done a lot of work on the Mongaigaon side. But again, Barak Valley side, a lot of things are happening. And what happened is they do not come directly through Tripura and other areas. So these are all facts.
Okay.
So there are several ways they use this methodology.
Okay.
We need a robust response.
All right, I'm running out of time, but I definitely want to bring in Mr. Rajesh Bhargav as well. Mr. Bhargav, I really have to understand from you, sir. We're looking at talks in the next few days. What is it that we can expect out of these talks, sir?
As far as the talks that are going to start from 8th of this month, I think it is such a big problem and such a big thing that I don't think that there can be some solution in these talks. It has to take a very long time because this immigration has not started or is not taking place in the last few decades. It is 1971 when the first wave of these immigrants came to India. 71, when there was so much of Pak Army's atrocities, and that was the first target were the Hindus. So first of all, the Hindus came in 1971. followed by some Muslims, and thereafter the Muslims started coming here because they found a very fertile land to settle down here. And these Bangladeshi Muslims, they found political patronage in Assam as well as in Malda. Malda, Abdul Ghani Khan Chaudhry, he was there. He just stopped all the BSF personnel to take any action against them. That's why you see what is the percentage of Muslim in the Malda? What is the percentage of Muslims in Assam? In Assam, Mr. Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed, he was the Rajya Sabha member from there. He was very influential in those areas. So these two places from where the Bangladeshis immigrants, they came to India, and from there they spread all over the India. Now, if we see the geography of Bangladesh, the maximum number or the maximum amount of immigration took place in Bengal, because it was very difficult to identify who is a Bangladeshi, who is a Bengali. Same language, same structure, everything same. Then the Assam, because the Assamese and Bangla language, it is not much difference. If I am living in Assam, I can very conveniently go to Bengal and understand the language. Whereas such immigration was less in Mizoram, in Meghalaya, because Meghalaya, Khasi and Garo people, they never welcomed them. So there was very little number of immigration in this area. So now a problem which started in 1971, we cannot sort it out in just few years, just with just few meetings. It has to take a very long, and particularly if you are having a neighbor like Bangladesh. I tell you now, because this point, I don't know who brought out this point. Now, if we take up with the Bangladesh, are they going to accept them? They would say, no, we don't have any such person living in our area or on the address which you have given to us. Or even the Bangladeshis who are staying here, they would give some wrong address so that it is not verified in the Bangladesh. As a result, they will have to be put in some detention center, and the Indian government will have to feed them. India government will have to make the arrangement for their stay, everything. It's a big cost. Bangladesh, they would never accept it. They say, okay, these are your national, you feed them, why should we pay for them? So there's another problem, because Bangladesh is never going to accept them. We have tried in the past, and the same story that I told you just now,
Yes.
that they never accepted that these are our people. Now
Yes.
the question comes of pushing them. Now it is almost 10 crore Bangladeshis. Can we push them? And even if we try to push them, how we push them? How much time will it take to push them? Because that pushing back, we have also tried. We pushed them from one gate, from one area which was not fenced, and they went into Bangladesh, and after 2 days, they again entered India from some other area. So the net result was almost zero. And some of the Bangladeshis, they went even up to Calcutta. Some local laborers, they come to India regularly. And they were welcomed by us because they were very cheap labor, working just for few rupees compared to the Indian labor. They charge very heavily. So now such state of affair which developed in the last few decades cannot be sorted out in such a small time, such a short time. And one thing more. Now,
Yes,
once
absolutely.
this fencing has come up, once the
Unfortunately, I've completely run out of time. I wish we had more time on this debate. Of course, this topic requires a much more in-depth conversation, but we will continue to pick this up in the coming days as we inch closer to that meeting. On that note, I thank all of our